Hello students, welcome back to new session of your class 11th physics. Before summer vacations, we discussed some of the chapters. I hope many of you have gone through these chapters and could understand. Before summer vacations started, we were discussing chapter of energy and power. Few topics were left, so we are going to complete remaining topics. One topic we are starting today, principle of conservation of energy and power. These topics are quite simple. You have already idea of conservation of energy and power, so hope you will enjoy. So let us start. Principle of conservation of energy says that energy can neither be created nor can be destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to other. The very common example of conservation of energy is studied in freely falling body. Here we will study conservation of mechanical energy. I suppose you understand mechanical energy. Mechanical energy is sum of kinetic and potential energies. So let us understand energy conservation in freely falling body or particle. Let us suppose a particle of mass m is kept at point A at height h. The particle is allowed to fall from point A. Since height of point A is maximum in this particular example, so potential energy is maximum, or in other words, total energy of the particle is in the form of potential energy. Now let us allow let us allow the particle to fall freely from point A. As particle is falling from point A, its height is continuously decreasing and simultaneously the particle is gaining speed. If height is decreasing, its potential energy is decreasing, and because of increase in speed, kinetic energy is increasing. For point B, apply third equation of motion. We find that speed of particle at point B after it has fallen a depth x is 2gx. Therefore, kinetic energy of particle at point B half mv square, and mv square is 2gx, so kinetic energy is mgx. Remaining height is h minus x, So potential energy of particle at point B is mg h minus x. So total energy at point B will be sum of these two energies, and it comes out to be mgh. Clearly this energy is equal to total energy at point A. Now finally the particle falls and reaches the ground. To find speed of particle just it touches the ground, again use third equation of motion. The speed just before touching the ground is v square is equal to 2gh. So kinetic energy at the ground half mv square put value of v square, we get kinetic energy mgh. Since no height left at point C, so potential energy is 0. Total energy at point C is mgh plus 0, that is mgh. Very clearly, total energy of particle at point A, at point B, at point C remains constant. Thus, principle of conservation of energy is proved. This phenomena of conservation of energy can be represented graphically. On y-axis we are taking energy, x-axis we are taking height. Since total energy remains constant, so graph of total energy is a straight line parallel to x-axis. It means whatever be height, total energy remains constant. Graphs of kinetic and potential energies are inclined line. It is very simple graph. You can easily understand as height is increasing, kinetic energy is decreasing, while potential energy is increasing with increase in height. Students, I hope you are familiar of force constant of spring. Force constant of spring is defined as force per unit change in length, that is K is equal to F by X. I make it more clear. If a spring is acted upon by a force along its length, the length changes. Suppose when force F is applied on the spring, change in length is X. So force constant K is F by X. When a spring oscillates, conservation of energy holds in this oscillation also. Let us suppose a particle is oscillating with the help of a spring about a mean position. When particle is passing from mean position, its speed is found to be maximum, that is kinetic energy is maximum. It is given in the graph. Point A shows the mean position. Very clear from the graph that in mean position kinetic energy is maximum, and on extreme positions, that is B and C, kinetic energy is zero. Because when particle is in extreme positions, that is B and C, the spring suffers maximum extension or maximum compression. In both the conditions, total energy of spring is in the form of potential energy, that is half kx square. I repeat, potential energy of spring is half kx square. K is force constant and x is change in length. So in extreme positions, change in length is maximum. So total energy of spring is in the form of potential energy. Obviously, kinetic energy is zero in these two positions. Now let us understand power. Power is rate of doing work or rate of dissipation of energy. That is, power is equal to work upon time or energy upon time. Very obviously, unit of power is joule per second, and this joule per second is also called watt in SI system. So SI unit of power is watt. Instantaneous power is dW by dt. Some phenomena is taking place which involves power, and the power is not constant. Then we find power at a particular time or instant. It is called instantaneous power, and it is represented as P is equal to dW by dt. And average power is W by T. I suppose you are understanding difference between average power and instantaneous power. Average power, total work upon total time taken, and instantaneous power is very small work done at a particular instant. Small quantities are represented by D, already discussed. So small work done is dW and small time taken is dt. So dW by dt is instantaneous power. Power is scalar quantity. So in vectors, to find work done, we get dot product of force applied and displacement. Let us suppose force F is applied for a small displacement ds. So work done in this process dW is equal to F dot ds. Power is equal to dW by dt. So F dot ds upon dt, and ds by dt is velocity. So instantaneous power is also represented as P is equal to F dot V. V is velocity at a particular instant. F is force applied and P is power at that instant. Students, I suppose you could understand these examples and these explanations. Keep studying, be safe, Thank you students for paying attention. God bless you.